Have you ever felt like you were speaking, yet no one was truly listening? Ever been cut off mid-sentence with no apology in sight? Or had someone make a joke, everyone laughs, and you just sit there because deep down you know they're laughing at your expense? Disrespect isn't always loud. It can hide in a raised eyebrow, in a half-hearted nod. On the way, you're dismissed while no one steps in to stand up for you. And the frightening truth is, if you don't speak up, people will assume you agree. We grow up being taught how to be polite, how to keep the peace, and how to avoid conflict. But rarely are we taught how to say, "Stop, I don't accept this." So you stay silent. You keep smiling through the mockery. You keep nodding when interrupted. Until one day you suddenly realize you're no longer the respected voice in the story of your own life. You don't have to become confrontational. You don't need to lash out in anger. What you need is steadiness and a few deep psychological strategies to stay in control in any situation. In this article, I'll share 5 subtle but powerful strategies that will help you reclaim your space in conversations, protect your personal boundaries, and most importantly, earn back the respect you deserve, not through begging, not through rage, but through clarity, intelligence, and quiet strength. Strategy 1, command respect from the start through posture and eye contact. There's a truth most people overlook. Respect doesn't begin with what you say, it begins with how you show up. Picture this. You're sitting at a cafe, someone walks over to greet you. You stay seated, smile softly, and shake hands from under the table. Comfortable? Maybe. But in that moment, you've unconsciously placed yourself in a weaker position. According to behavioral psychology, first impressions are formed within the first 7 seconds. And most of that comes not from words, but from body language, especially posture and eye contact. Why is standing up and making eye contact so important? Stand up to establish equal ground. When you stay seated, the other person looks down at you, creating an unconscious top-down dynamic. But when you stand up, you send a clear message. I respect you, and I respect myself. Use eye contact to create a powerful connection. Eye contact isn't just about politeness. It's a tool for self-positioning in the other person's perception. A steady gaze, not harsh, not evasive, signals that you are confident, self-possessed, and not easily manipulated. Look into their eyes, not at their hand. When you look at someone's hand during a handshake, your head naturally tilts downward, projecting submissiveness. Always look directly at their face. That's where presence and emotion live. How to apply this today? Whether it's a colleague, a stranger, or someone who once dismissed you, stand up to greet them. Offer a firm handshake, not too strong, not too weak. Make direct eye contact for the first 2 to 3 seconds of greeting. Then shift your gaze elsewhere to ease tension. A strong posture doesn't just make others respect you more. It awakens your own sense of dignity and self-worth. The way you walk into a room will decide how the entire room sees you. Strategy 2. Respond to interruptions with eye contact and assertiveness. Reclaim your voice intelligently. You're sharing an idea in a meeting, telling a story among friends, or simply beginning to speak. And then, someone cuts you off. No pause, no apology. They jump in, drown out your words, and shift the conversation as if you were never even there. How do you feel? Dismissed? Undervalued? Invisible? Don't rush to silence, and don't lash out in anger either. Instead, learn to respond with a steady gaze and a calm, powerful affirmation. Why does being interrupted hurt so much? An interruption isn't just rude. It's psychologically a form of erasure. It denies your role, your voice, and your presence in the conversation. And if it happens often, it subtly teaches you, my opinion doesn't matter, which can make you hesitate to speak up in the future. The response strategy: silence, eye contact, verbal reclaiming, pause. Say nothing. Look directly at the person who interrupted you. Your gaze in that moment becomes an unspoken stop. Wait a few seconds. When your eye contact registers the boundary, speak gently but firmly. I wasn't finished. May I continue, ma'am? Or, thank you, let me finish my thought, and then I'd love to hear yours. Say it calmly, not harshly, but with clarity. The goal isn't confrontation, it's to reassert your voice and your value. The psychological effects of this strategy: the interrupter will sense your invisible boundary. Others in the room will notice your composure and self-respect. And most importantly, you keep your voice in the room. Respect isn't something you ask for, it's something you create. One word, one glance at a time. Strategy 3, when you're mocked, ask them to repeat it to flip the power dynamic. You're in the middle of a conversation with friends, colleagues, or even at a family gathering. Someone makes a joke, harmless on the surface, but it hits right where it hurts. Everyone laughs. You force a smile. But inside, a small cut forms, one only you can feel. You think they were just joking. But in truth, it was a subtle blow to your self-esteem. Why do these harmless jokes feel so degrading? In psychology, this is known as indirect aggression, humor used to mask ridicule, criticism, or even competition. The person who makes the remark usually hides behind the classic deflection. "Oh, come on, it was just a joke. Don't take it so seriously." And that one phrase strips you of your right to respond, because if you push back, you're suddenly too sensitive. Counter strategy: pretend you didn't hear. Ask them to repeat it. Stay calm, don't respond immediately. Let 2 to 3 seconds of silence settle in after their joke. Then look at the person and ask with casual neutrality, "Sorry, what did you just say? I didn't quite catch that. Can you repeat it?" Keep your face neutral. No anger, no smile. This brings them into the light, forcing them to repeat their words without the protective shield of humor. The psychological impact of this strategy: the joke loses its spontaneity and comes off as blunt or inappropriate. The speaker may feel awkward, exposed, or suddenly aware of their lack of tact. You don't need to fight back. They'll do that to themselves. Remember, by staying emotionally composed and calmly asking for a repeat, you regain control without creating confrontation. Sometimes a repeated sentence reveals the truth that the first laugh tried to cover. Strategy 4, disrupt the attack with a statement, completely unrelated. Picture this. You're in the middle of a conversation that suddenly starts to feel uncomfortable. Someone begins to provoke, mock, or corner you, pushing you into a defensive position. They're no longer joking. They're trying to control your emotions by trying to make you lose your composure. And that is exactly what you must never give them. The psychology behind aggressive behavior: aggressors often use emotional disruption tactics. They prod you, provoke a strong reaction, and then twist the narrative to make you look like the one causing trouble. If you snap back, they win. If you go silent, they take control. So how do you break out of this emotional trap? With a simple trick: shift the topic, completely and unexpectedly. The intentional off-topic strategy: when you sense someone is trying to manipulate you into reacting, interrupt the dynamic with a random, unrelated remark or question. Examples: "By the way, do you know any good bakeries around here? The air feels really dry today. Must be a storm coming, huh? I just remembered. I think I left my wallet somewhere yesterday." These seemingly absurd statements carry surprising power. They cut the emotional rhythm of the attacker, throw them off, and disrupt the script they had planned. The deeper impact of this technique: you're not reacting emotionally, you're responding with control. You're sending a message: "I don't play by your rules." You stay calm, something that makes the attacker feel powerless. Remember, confusion is the antidote to manipulation. When you don't react the way they expect, you strip away their power. And in any psychological game, the one who controls the flow of the conversation is the one who wins. Strategy 5, walk away. When respect is no longer in the room. There's a kind of relationship that feels heavy, yet you keep trying to maintain it. A kind of environment where you constantly have to brace yourself to be heard, to not be dismissed, to not be belittled. And then you start to wonder, am I being too sensitive? The answer might surprise you. No, you're just in the wrong place. Disrespect isn't always loud. It can show up as someone consistently dismisses your opinions in conversations. Subtle eye rolls, offhanded comments, repeated interruptions. Moments when you speak and are met with silence, as if you were invisible. Worse still, disrespect often hides behind normalization. You'll hear things like, "It was just a joke." "You're overthinking again." And little by little, you start to doubt your own perception. When is it time to walk away? When you constantly feel the need to defend your right to exist. When maintaining even a small presence in the conversation feels exhausting. When you're not truly being listened to, but merely tolerated. Walking away isn't giving up. It's the act of someone who knows their worth. Psychologist Carl Jung once said, "You cannot awaken someone who is pretending to sleep." Likewise, you cannot force someone to respect you if they've become comfortable disrespecting you. But you can revoke your presence from a place where you are not valued. And the strange thing is, when you're brave enough to walk away, you don't just reclaim your self-respect. You also create space for relationships that truly honor you. Your absence can sometimes be the strongest statement of all. After reading all 5 strategies, you might think, actually, these things are quite simple. And you're right, they are simple, but they're not easy. It's not easy to stand up when you've been taught your whole life to be the bigger person. It's not easy to ask someone to stop when you've grown used to smiling and letting it slide. And it's not easy to walk away when you've spent so long trying to stay. But here's one truth I want you to remember. Respect doesn't come from how impressive you are. It comes from what you allow others to do to you. If you have no boundaries, people will cross them. If you have no principles, others will impose their rules on you. And if you don't learn how to stand up for yourself, sooner or later you'll disappear from your own life story. I didn't write this to make you hard or detached. I wrote it to help you become clear. Clear in how you show up. Clear in the way you hold eye contact when someone interrupts you. Clear when you say, "I wasn't finished speaking. Please let me continue." And clear in the strength of your steps when you walk away, because respect is no longer present. If you've ever been dismissed, ever stayed silent in frustration, ever wished someone else would speak up for you, then let today be the start. Choose one of the strategies we explored and try applying it in real life. Then come back here and share what it felt like in the comments. And if you know someone who's also trying to reclaim their worth, send them this piece. Because sometimes one timely sentence is the first step back to themselves. Thank you for staying until the end. I'll see you in the next piece, where strength doesn't need to shout. It only needs to be clear.